I have a quick question if you're ready for me. So, I mean, if Peter hasn't got anything else to add.
Go ahead. That's fine. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, yes, I wanted to ask about Simha. She's an Eckmaster whom because whenever you talk about, I'm sorry, not an Eckmaster, she's a spiritual guide. But the thing is that I have noticed you always refer to the spiritual guides as the boys. I know some people have had experiences with Karadaki, but I wanted to ask if Simha actually comes into play here at all, because she has done some incredible work on me, basically opening me up, and I know there's a lot of assumptions about who she really is, but she is just a really fantastic guide. And I was just wondering, does anybody ever hear from her?
Well, you can put an alert out to Facebook and see the response, but here's the idea. Yes, you have your ideas about her and your experiences, but at the same time, take a look at her view and the view of the real guides. And we're not spiritual in any way at all. Okay, we don't use that label, but you can. And the idea is that how does she see it? So I would say that she's not concerned about what people think about her, whatever. She's a doer. She's real. She's a real being. The real being's like the sun shining, like the sun in the sky. It's not concerned about ideas and attitudes, labels, or what have you. I use these terms as a fun reference, like kids would. That's the whole idea. It's something for people to relate to, and I relate in many different ways. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just sharing my experience, and as we hear other people's experiences, it all comes in. But again, we are all beings of light, and that's why we're here. So we are getting through all the labels into the all-natural environment that is all life to be recognized. But a lot of people want to stay with the labels and ideas, and they have a right to do that. So again, you make the choice with how your life is, and you decide what you're going to assume or not. But again, learn to see it from their view. What are they seeing? And they'll show you.
Well, I need to, just consider my focus a little bit. I have never actually experienced, working with Rebazar, and I want to work with them. The problem that I have is when I'm going to sleep, I'm just, it's a whole different thing. I'm focused elsewhere because she has come to me many times. And so I actually had the fortune of meeting her in the physical, which was a shock. But it was, she had actually worked with this woman, and the woman didn't know who she was, didn't even know that she could enter her body. But this woman came up to me, and I knew right away that I was talking to a guide. And she even shook my hand. She's giggling the whole time. She's wondering if I'd recognize her, and I knew that it was somebody, but I didn't know it was her. I found out later. But the point is, I went to the Eckankar temple about 2 weeks later, and I saw the same woman. She didn't recognize me. She was just completely empty. And the difference between having a spiritual guide using your body and actually interacting with you, and then when that guide leaves, it's amazing. This woman was not the same woman. So she just knew something had happened, and she shook my hand. And I'm sorry, at the temple she didn't shake my hand, but when I could tell the difference between when she shook my hand, she had actually bought me a client to work on because I'm a massage therapist, and the client didn't know her at all. But she was laughing, and she was the whole time she had this energy about her, and all of a sudden that energy was gone, and this woman's asking questions over at the temple, trying to find out what Eckankar was all about, because she knew something had happened to her. But she really was oblivious. So, and I didn't see any of that energy at all. So it was quite interesting. But the thing is, this Simha has actually helped me quite a bit. And I'm just kind of curious if anybody else has any experiences with her, and that's kind of important to me, because you need a feminine presence here. It can't be all about the boys. It's like on occasion, you need a female to teach you things, because there are things the boys are not going to be able to teach you, in my opinion.
I do not see them as male or female. They're just beings, just like we are. And being a being is not about male or female. Those are just the ideas which somehow portray for so long that people like to address them or think of them as male or females, but they are not.
No, I agree with you. I know at a certain level there's no such thing as gender, but what I'm saying is that basically they choose. It's just like Duane was saying. Ask what their point of view is, and this is their point of view. They see themselves and they present themselves with gender for our benefit. So that doesn't mean that Simha is female, and it doesn't mean that Rebazar is male. It's nothing like that. But the point is that how they present themselves. Sometimes you need a female perspective, and so I was curious because Duane always refers to them as the boys. Well, I'm still curious about some of these things because I am new here. I didn't get a chance to work with Rebazar when I was in Ekankar. I've seen other guides. And you all know them, so that's all fine. I'm just curious as to what happens with the other side, the females, the ones that present themselves as females, I should say.
Yes, Charles. Well, that's a given. You know that saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a given. So you can ask the question, and that's fine, but it's a given. So in other words, that reference there, if I start using boys and girls or whatever, you have that personal self. So again, mainly it's been that, and yes, I'm with them too in that category, and it's just they're using these vehicles like we are, and so that's just a reference for that time. That's just a reference because people look to the male factor. We grew up through the organization, through Paul and all the other stuff. We grew up through the organization, and like Paul referred to, they usually take on the person that has the rod of power, or whatever, takes on the human male body. That's all. But that doesn't disregard anybody else. So again, when people start thinking in those terms, that's their own thinking.
Yes. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. It's just that sometimes a female perspective I find teaches me things. I have more people that I will contact for advice who are women than men generally because they handle things differently.
Women too. Actually, if you look in Facebook, I've written quite a few groups about how wonderful women are. Wonderful Women. Look it up by Duane the Great.
Oh, I will do that. Wonderful Women.
Yeah. So again, I don't remember the name. It's been years, but actually in book 2, the one that Jeremy's editing right now, going through, there is a group in there. I took some of the groups and put them in there. And it's right there. I think it's a page or so, right, Jeremy? Wonderful Women in the beginning. Yes. And the thing is that, yes, as I asked Rebazar and Paul for seers, I see the women usually stepping up. They are the best seers. And
sure.
Yeah, I have a heart for them. The thing is that, yes. And so again, it's whatever makes sense. That's all. And so you have these experiences in this relationship, and yes, it's all real. And why are we here? To recognize that real side of ourselves that the personal self cannot grasp. So there's always more unseen. And yes, you have that relationship, but they're trying to get you to see more that your personal self cannot see. That's the big journey. That's now. And the little spiritual programs and everything we've been through and all that, the masters and gurus, no. Darwin and Harold, I knew them both very closely, etc. A lot of experience, good and bad, Joni, etc., the influence. And the reason that they have chosen what they have is because they never had the awareness to see beyond themselves. That's real. Their choice.
Okay, well, we only know what's presented for the most part. And thing is, we now at this point seem to be depending on the guides for everything that we're presented. It's whatever they show us that we can learn. But other than that, we seem like very, very small. I will say that. That's how I feel sometimes. It's very, very small.
This planet Earth needs a lot of help from all of us right now. Dean Val of NUUU, Nations United, UNUversal, UNUversity, is contacting people around this world every day to share the importance of the all-natural environment supporting all of us. Dean Val and Duane Lee Heppner.org 501c3 have created CAN, Community Action Network, to help all communities become aware of how to be self-sufficient with permaculture and food and rainforests. We are always looking for real people to step up who want to learn what life on this earth is all about. We will be leasing large portions of land to create something wonderful for all communities everywhere. Contact Val Vittles on Skype and Facebook, and through the phone number and the website DuaneTheGreatWriter.net provided in the links, to get involved with what we all can do now. The NUUU, Nations United UNUversal UNUversity, is dedicated to supporting and providing a real purpose and real awareness with the all-natural environment supporting all of us. First comes this earth with food and rainforests, and to protect what is still here. For those who have the awareness to see what is actually taking place here with all the natural devastation, which is also purposely planned by WorldKontrollers, you now have a real opportunity to step up and do something with those who also care about your planet Earth. Duane Lee Heppner has created the NUUU, Nations United UNUversal UNUversity, which completely entails the all-natural environment everywhere, and a real education that has real value, and that far surpasses any commonly created indoctrinating educational system that does not focus on what sustains all of us naturally. Real survival makes sense with everything here that is self-sustaining.